What's up? Welcome back to the YouTube. I'm making another informational one. I've probably done a lot of these by now. I don't really know. I'm kind of filming them here and there. Haven't gotten to editing anything yet. So we'll kind of see. But this video is going to be how to cut. So I already made a previous video. I don't know if I've, put this out yet. But explaining how to bulk. Now I'm going to explain how to cut. And basically just go through it. Again, it's my personal opinion. So don't come for me. I mean, you can either way. I don't really care too much. But still, yeah. Anyway, where are you right now? So let's say we're peak bulk right now and we're about to cut. What do? First things first, we take off a bunch of calories pretty much. We're trying to figure out what the maintenance is because we might not know. Our maintenance might have changed kind of thing, Obviously, if you put on a lot of muscle from when you last cut down, your maintenance is going to be, you're going to have a different maintenance. You have more muscle mass, you're burning more calories just by being alive, lifting heavier weight, etc. So let's say you're at 3.5K and your weight's kind of stalling-ish. You could theoretically say that's your maintenance because that's the amount you have to eat to maintain your weight. Let's say you're at 3.5K and your weight's still kind of going up, probably like, I don't know, maybe half a kilo a week or less, right? Let's say 0.3 kilos a week, whatever, 300 grams a week. Then you're in a decent surplus. So what we do is we take off amount of calories to get us to at least a small deficit, right? These will get our weight kind of moving down a little bit. It'll move down anyway, even if you go from a bulk to like maintenance because you have less food in your stomach, you're holding less water weight, etc. Yeah, you have less food in your stomach, you have less water weight, etc. 3.5K, you want to go on a cup, where would you go? Honestly, 2.8 is probably where I'd go. About 2.8 is probably where I'd go. You're like, oh my God, 700 calories. Bro, at this point, I don't even want to be eating. At peak cut, you don't even want to eat. Every time you look at food, you're just like, ugh. So going to 2.8 isn't really that much of a problem. You go to 2.8, doesn't have to be a specific number, but you drop your calories, right? Then you need to see what your calories do, what your weight does, right? Because you change your calories. Let's say your weight starts dropping stupidly quick. I'm talking like 2 kilos a week. You might want to bump up your calories a little bit if you don't want to be losing that much, depending on how you feel. It is probably better to be dropping your calories way harsher at the start of a cut rather than at the end, because that's when you don't really have any fatigue. You haven't built up any fatigue, you feel good, you feel fresh, you're eating less, so it's a good time to kind of just drop your calories. So yeah, drop your calories, see what's going on. Maybe you are losing 2 kilos a week. Bear in mind the first week, most of what you're going to lose is going to be water weight, or like, not the first week, but maybe the first 3-4 days, you might drop like 3 kilos or something. It's going to be a lot of water. It's going to be just a lot of water. And it's just going to be you having less food in your stomach, so you're holding less water, etc. From then, I would aim between around a kilo, maybe 1.5 kilos a week to just lose. And again, similar to the bulking where once you stall, you up your calories. Here, once you stall, you can lower your calories or you can higher your expenditure. So that's how it is. When you're not losing weight quick enough, you have two options. You either higher your expenditure, so you do more exercise, do more cardio, do more steps, or you lower your calories. Me personally, for me, lowering my calories always works way better than hiring my expenditure, but each person's different. It might be different for you. I don't know. I doubt it, but yeah. So what I usually do is I just lower my calories more. So let's say I'm on 2.7 at this point, right? And I'm losing like 0.3 kilos a week. I'll go 2.5. Let's say after a couple of weeks, I'm losing like 1 kilo a week. I go to 2.5. I'm starting to lose half a kilo a week. I go to 2.3. Let's say 2.3, I'm starting to lose 1 kilo a week. I stay there. Let's say then I get skinny, I get lean, and then at 2.3, I'm losing again 0.7, and it's not fast enough for me. I might go 2.2. Check off 100 calories, Literally, the second is not the second, but this is on a weekly basis, by the way. Give your body actually time to do this and check on a weekly basis how much you're losing. If you cut your calories and in 3 days your weight doesn't drop, don't cut your calories again, okay? Give it more time. You need at least a week is usually what I go for. The benchmark for me is usually a week. At least a week. I just said a week like 5 times, bro. Someone needs to get a counter. But at least a week, 7 days. See what happens. Give your body time. Give the diet time to do something, right? Maybe you just need to go toilet. And that's why your weight didn't drop, You keep doing that. Now, apart from that, what do you do? Apart from, you just lower your calories, you higher expenditure, What you do is every, I'd say 4 weeks, you either implement a cheat meal at the start. So at the start, it's more cheat meals. So like, I don't know, maybe the first month, you might not even need anything. Second month, maybe have a cheat meal. What are you gonna have in a cheat meal? 1,000 calories, 2,000 calories, maybe you have a pizza, maybe you have something tasty, some chocolate, some Ben & Jerry's, I don't know. As long as you stick with like lower calories, you should be okay. In the first 2 months, the cheat meal is basically motivation, if anything. That's all it is. The first like 2 months of a cut, it's just there for motivation and just to kind of like let you have some cheap food, some like junk food that you don't usually have kind of thing. If cheat meals are going to make you more likely to go off plan don't have them. Oh, but I don't care. If you have a cheat meal and you start going overboard, that means you can't have cheat meals. You've ruined what should be, you know, you can't have it because you let it become too much. So if you have a cheat meal and then you notice you go crazy for like 2-3 days, or like not even 2-3 days, let's say you have a cheat meal and then the next day you have another cheat meal, completely off plan. Don't do that. You're not allowed to do that. That's not, you know what I mean? So if you can't have cheat meals, don't have them. But you have cheat meals at the start. Then when you start getting really lean, okay, I'm talking 12%, 11%, maybe 10%, right? Sub 10%. Okay, now every 3 to 4 weeks, so before it was every 4 weeks, now every 3 to 4 weeks, you're gonna have refeeds. You're saying, what's a refeed? A refeed, you're gonna have majority carbs, right? Pizza kind of works, but you're gonna mess up your digestion. It's not really great. I say at this point, it's probably gonna be more fries. It's like one of the unhealthy things you can have. Or like, yeah, fries, bro. I'm gonna be honest, you can't really have that much, but a refeed is a certain amount of grams of carbs. So I'd say, for me, my first refeed was about 500 grams of carbs. And what it does is you're filling up your glycogen stores. You're kind of getting rid of a lot of fatigue, a lot of CNS fatigue, central nervous system fatigue. So like your brain actually being able to send signals to the muscles, as well as fatigue in the muscle. Basically, you're in a diet for so long, you're giving your body a break. In that one meal, you're giving your body extra energy to kind of just recover everything. And it's every 3 to 4 weeks when you start getting really depleted. So yeah, mainly carbs. Aim for healthier stuff. It doesn't have to be. Like I remember I had Pringles, I had Squares bars, gummy bears, like mainly carbs, obviously. Try not to, don't be like, oh, I'm gonna have a refeed, and then you start eating like straight Nutella, 50% fat, 50% carbs. You want 95% carbs, if not more. Carbs is what's gonna give you the energy, it's what's gonna help you recover, what's gonna actually fix everything you have going on, right? Yeah, mainly carbs. It's a refeed. You give yourself a certain amount, well, you give yourself, or your coach gives you a certain amount of grams of carbs to have every 3 to 4 weeks. And you kind of just repeat that until you're done with the cut. Now, when you're done with the cut, what do? You go into a bulk. I think I've already covered this in the other video about how to bulk. And I said that you don't have to reverse that much if you're natural. Like there's not that much you really need to do as long as you're going to keep it healthy. But that's a different video. So you're going to have to go to that one. Now, how do you keep yourself from losing muscle when you're in a cut? You have to train hard. You have to train harder than when you're bulking. You have to put in more effort than when you're bulking. Why? Because your body perceives things, so sees things as much heavier than it is, right? So your body, you think you fail at 10 kilos with 8 reps, right? But actually, if you really put in the effort, you could have done 12 kilos with 8 reps, right? So your body makes everything seem harder, makes it seem like failure when it's not, when it could do more, because you don't have the energy, right? And it's just what happens. If you let perceived exertion get the best of you, what happens? You use the muscle less, you lose strength, you lose muscle. Whenever we're cutting, what we're trying to do is we're trying to retain strength so that we can hopefully retain muscle at the same time, or at least most of it. So while you're cutting down, you need to train harder. Keep the volume the same, but you need to push the intensity. You need to really, really push the intensity, because otherwise you're just gonna lose the muscle. If you skip any muscle when you're cutting, you're stupid and you're doing dumb shit. Because if you skip a muscle when you're cutting, your body will simply get rid of the muscle. If it's not being used, your body will just use it. It'll get rid of it. It uses energy and just done. It's gone, right? So whenever you cut, train hard, train every single muscle that you want to keep. If I started cutting right now and all of a sudden I was like, I don't know, like, I don't really want to train rear delt. Your rear delt's gonna be gone. You do like a 3-4 month cut, harsh cut, you go to like 8% body fat, you're not gonna have a rear delt left. It's gone. Now, yeah, it'll build back up with muscle memory, of course, but you could also just train it, keep it there, or keep most of it there, and then when you bulk up, you can add on muscle onto it. The whole point of what we're trying to do here is gain as much muscle as we can, right? We're trying to lose the fat, retain muscle so we can bulk and put more on. Train hard, track your workouts, track how much you're lifting, so that then you can beat yourself the next time. Otherwise, you're just not gonna know, and you're gonna be like, well, that feels kind of heavy, so I'll go lighter, or something like that. Track your weights. I use an app called Strong. It's free. It's just a symbol of a dumbbell on the App Store. You can use that. I used to use it. I don't really use it anymore because I'm a bit stupid. I'm gonna cut now. But yeah, I don't think you can tell, apart from the fact that I look tiny. But yeah, another thing when you're on a cut is you're gonna look small. Your glycogen stores are depleted. Your muscle cells are like this, and when you have glycogen, they expand like this, and literally it makes you look bigger, obviously. So when you go on a cut and you start getting depleted and you don't have glycogen, it like stored, it goes like this, your muscle cell, so you look smaller. So that's going to happen, and it sucks. That's why you always look your leanest like a week out from the cut. A week after you finish the cut is when you look like your leanest. A week or two, when you start filling back up with glycogen, but you're still lean, that's when you look. That's when you look your best, probably. For a lot of people anyway. So yeah, that's basically how you cut. Apart from that, I'll be honest, just meal prep. Meal prep, stick to the meal prep, makes life easier. Weigh yourself, stick to weighing yourself. If you weigh yourself, that also makes your life easier. The better you track stuff, the better you can track progress, the better you can get good results, you know? So just track your stuff. I always bang on about this at this point. But yeah, little tips and tricks is diet soda. So I have a lot of diet soda. It can kind of help get rid of that sweet tooth. So I honestly, this is diluted. So this is basically free promo at this point. Whatever it has them, they don't need promo. I'll get a whole 2-liter bottle of this. It's like 16 calories, something like that. And I'll dilute it with even more water. So this is 2 liters, but each 500 milliliters will make about 2 liters of water. So I end up drinking like 4 liters a day of water, which is great. You know, you get to get rid of all the... Here's another thing. When you cut, your brain runs on primarily glycogen, so it's so hard to think, and I've got a headache right now. You drink a lot of water, you just pee out stuff your body doesn't need, and I've forgotten the word, and I can't get the word back because I'm actually so hungry, I can't think. Toxins? Yeah, toxins? It just pisses out toxins. It's also just good to be hydrated for muscles, get less cramps, etc. Basically, Cherry 8 is pretty good. Just diet soda is pretty good. Another thing is just adding fruit, not fruit, don't touch fruit. Fruit is always usually a big problem. I'll be honest with you. If you ever touch fruit when you're cutting, it's probably if you don't track the fruit, it might mess you up. You can kind of get away with not tracking veg as long as you keep it to like 1 or 2 veg items per day. When I say veg items, I don't mean like just a massive eggplant or something stupid. That was a weird example. What's a big vegetable? Yeah, you've lost me. But like maybe like what I do is I have like a tomato, maybe an onion a day, and like a cucumber. That's it, right? I won't do too much. And I keep it consistent. I keep the vegetables I have consistent. So then either way, let's say my weight's not moving, I'll keep the vegetables, but I'll drop calories from like my carb source. It's good because you have vitamins and minerals and whatnot. Another thing you can do when you're on a cut, just make sure you have whole foods, voluminous foods that have a lot of volume for how many calories they are. It helps you feel fuller for longer, basically. To stop yourself getting cramps, get magnesium, because you're probably going to be cramping a little bit here and there. To stop yourself getting lightheaded, get iron. Do it slow and steady. Is usually the best. If you try rush stuff, that's kind of when the cut starts to really mess you up. Then when you get really lean, when you start getting really hungry, really lean, if you're in a cut and you're at the point where it's like, oh, I'm getting so hungry, I don't know if I can come out of this cut and reverse into a bulk without binging, or like, you know, just to reverse properly, get out, just get out. It's not worth it anymore, because that's how bodybuilders and stuff, people that compete, develop eating disorders. What happens is they get too lean to the point where, like, I don't know how to explain this to you guys, but you get so hungry, you start smelling food through packaging. That was one thing. I started smelling food through packaging. So you get so lean, you start smelling through, like when it gets to that, or it's like, you're just constantly in a horrible mood. Like when I say constantly, I mean constantly. It starts to get to a point where it's like, it's hard to walk. This is prep, right? This isn't even a cut. A cut's to like 10%, cool. Prep's when I went to like 7%, right? It starts to hurt to walk. It starts to, if you sit in a chair for too long and it's an uncomfortable chair, it hurts your bum. You can't think. There's nothing going on in your head. Your eyes start to like cave into your face. Right, if you start getting to this kind of point and you thinking to yourself, you're like, okay, I think if I keep going, I might not be able to reverse out of this cut properly. I might end up just binging on stuff. Reverse then. And the second you have that moment, start reversing out. Start getting out of it. Because it means that if you keep going and then you start binging, you kind of mess up the last maybe 3 weeks of the cut or something like that. And it's just not good. We don't want eating disorders. There's some people that diet down, they get to 7%, and then they get so hungry, they do their competition, whatever, and then they start eating so much, they go up to like 18%. And before they know it, in like 2 months, they put back on everything they've cut. The whole point of a cut is to get rid of the fat and then get back up nice and slow so you can put on muscle. If you think you're not going to be able to do that, get out. Get out then. It's a trap otherwise. So being able to reflect on your own thoughts and like what's going on and how you're feeling, kind of important, right? Obviously, if it's for a competition, you have to just push anyway. Like competition is different. You just need to push. But you should be able to reflect on yourself and be like, hey, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't know if I can control myself. Or like, hey, this sucks a lot right now, but I can keep pushing. If you can keep pushing and you're like, I'll still be able to reverse okay, do it. Otherwise, let it go. And if you start getting to the point where your hair's falling out or your isn't working anymore, or like anything like that, just get out. it's not worth it, you know? Unless you're gonna compete, leave it. Just for a general cut, just don't do it, right? I know a guy, I'm not gonna mention any names, who was 17 and he competed. He got to like 6% in like 2-3 months, right? His didn't work for like 6, 7, 8 months. I don't know if it works now. So you can really mess yourself up hormonally and mentally. We don't want eating disorders and that doesn't work anymore. Sometimes for girls, they just don't get that period. For like, it can take years to come back. So yeah, be careful, track your stuff. That wasn't supposed to happen. I'll see you guys in the next one.